Hey, little baby. It's April the 19th, 2016. Alright. I want to share a video with you. I left the link below. It's a video that I just seen about a boy named Jake. The video is 4 years old, and like I said, I just seen it. However, I didn't necessarily have to see it. It was just another little bit of evidence on top of a mountain of evidence of what I have been proclaiming here and there and everywhere a number of times on this channel. And it's that autism is a very peculiar thing, right? We have to start to recognize that autism is skyrocketing in this society. For whatever reason, I have my theories as to the reasons, and it's a whole concoction of reasons. It's not just one. However, some of the reasons are much more impactful than other reasons. All right. Autism is sweeping the nation. All right. Perhaps the world in general. I'm not too sure about the statistics and stories around the world, but it is definitely sweeping this nation. All right. And it definitely is peculiar. All right. When you look at the many different stories and examples of autism, you realize that the good majority of them, they strike people in a negative way. All right. They create a whole bunch of difficulties for these people, obstacles to overcome, to to um, I guess infuse themselves into society the way that they should be able to infuse themselves, right? Cause a whole bunch of problems, right? Some autistic people, for example, you already know, can't speak, have seizures, wear diapers, up until, I mean, just forever, basically, like just a whole slew of problems. And you gotta understand that in my heart, when I see that, that's not acceptable. You could say, oh well, they just learn differently. They're in diapers. Oh, they twitch, and oh they can't speak and whatever. They're just different. Yeah, I agree. They're different. They're special and they deserve attention, but no, that is not acceptable. Simply not acceptable. All right. It's coming from a dude who I know I have autism and stuff, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to say I'm you know what I'm saying, disabled and whatnot. I'm definitely not like these folks. These folks that I just described have uh, their situation is very grim compared to mine and yours. And also compared to this boy Jake in a video that I left below. Alright, it's a new video, or it's not even a new video, it's 4 years old, but I just seen it. And I didn't even have to see it because I've already seen many examples of what you would call savants who have autism in the same way that these other folks have autism. But see the difference with Jake, and they go through the whole story. It was on 60 Minutes. They go through the whole story, and the difference with him is they were able to latch him onto something. They noticed, that uh, he was going through a kind of a detachment mode where he stopped looking at people in the eyes. He stopped speaking and stuff up until age 5 and 6. They got him latched on to something that he loves. Right? And then he just took off from there. Now, everybody's individuals, right? They're gonna have different stuff that they love. But when they got this boy Jake latched on to mathematics, science, and space and things like that, he took off. And after he took off, is when he began to speak. Is when he began to really come into his own. All right. And I got to stress that, this is what we need to look into for every autistic child. No matter how difficult their life is. You need to either someone needs to find out what you're good at, or basically you need to find out what you're good at, what you love to do. Right? You need to latch onto that, and you need to not listen to anything else or try to do anything else. You know, it's basically futile because you know what I'm saying, if you're not feeling it, then you're just not feeling it. There's something out there that you need to grab a hold of, and you need to wrestle it to the ground. And you need to conquer it, right? And anything less is unacceptable. Right? And I know, I mean, I can't speak for everybody else, but I know for you that that is the case. All right, me personally, yeah, I got autism. I don't know if you call me a savant at anything because me personally, I don't know anything that I'm very exceptional at. All right. If I were to guess, I would say, maybe I'm exceptional at discernment, discerning, just discernment in general, knowing what's important, what's not important for the furthering of humanity, being able to see through people, being able to identify, people's strong points, people's weaknesses, the Bible and things like that. Pretty exceptional at that, but even then, there's people that's better than me. Uh, I'm not really on that level. I said it before. I don't know if you ever heard it, so I'm gonna say it again. Um, Before you were born, I knew, and the best way to describe it is I knew in my bones that anything that I had to offer this world was minuscule. It was preposterous. It was um, eensy weensy. It was nothing compared to what is going to come forth from you. I knew that. I'm willing to bet all sort of money, anything that I have, because it's not a guess. This is what I know, right? And for this to come to fruition, you need to grab a hold of what it is that inspires you. Because I've seen you inspired. It's an incredible thing. It's amazing. You need to grab a hold of that. And when you do, if anybody tries to get in your way, including myself, tries to distract you from this, you need to go ahead and forget them. And I know that you can. I know that you have that in you. I'll tell you a little story. You probably be told this story many times. I really don't know. But I'm going to tell you a story right now. Back when you were a little baby and stuff, and even into when you were 2, 3, dang near 4 years old, people lots of times would come up to me or your mother and they would ask if you are deaf. And it was so funny to me because, like, when we were at home alone and stuff, all I would have to do is whisper. If you were across the room, if you were in another room, you would hear me and acknowledge me. So no, you're not deaf. It's just that you have a way about you that you can ignore the shit out of people. If you don't want to hear what they're saying, you won't hear it. It's a rebellion. It's taking place in your brain, and it's so beautiful. I admire it so much. You don't have to utilize that. All right, you're gonna have to let what inspires you take you away and lead you down your path. And understand, at the end of this road, you're going to set the world on fire. All right, take that as a literal meaning or a metaphorical. Really don't matter. You're gonna change the world, and I know this. Just like this little boy Jake's changing the world, right? Because you were given a gift. At the same time, you gotta understand that the gift that you were given absolutely cripples some folks, and that's terrible. That's unacceptable. Anyways, this April 19th, 2016.